item. Audio can be heard today through your computer speakers. We hope you take full advantage of the Q&A pod on the left side of your screen to ask any questions you may have for the presenters. We will do our best to answer all of your questions at the end of the presentation. If for some reason we do not get to your questions, our team will certainly follow up with you offline. To tell you a little bit about Carahsoft, we are a trusted government IT solutions provider, delivering software and support solutions to federal, state, and local government agencies. Carahsoft maintains dedicated teams to support sales and marketing for all its vendors, including Adobe and Defense Connect Online. Our contact information will be at the end of the presentation, so please don't hesitate to call or email. This webinar is being recorded, and a copy of the presentation will be emailed to you. At this time, I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, Brett Miller, MilSuite Solutions Engineer. Brett, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Sam. And thanks for that introduction. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. And we've got three great sessions planned for you this week, starting today. And what we're going to talk about, obviously, in these sessions is MilSuite. And why MilSuite? But one of the things, when you look at how people live their lives in their personal world, when they use these tools, popular ones today. But you've got things like Twitter and Tumblr, and then YouTube and LinkedIn and Pinterest and all of these other things. And those the DoD, just by its nature, is very command and control structured, very top-down driven. And finding ways to execute them better and faster. And that's an important thing. A little bit, as resources are a little bit more constrained in the world. To know. And in those situations, that they have, it's called mission command, taking that idea bird, so to speak. Mission command is but controlling and enabling, controlling what their desired end state is, but you don't know exactly how to get there. And it's up to each individual to figure allows each individual to control what they need. Any individual with a DoD check can come in and use of someone from the Army, say, Army Aviation, connecting if they didn't have something like MilSuite. So we also encourage even if you posting something doesn't directly contribute to functional area or specialty. And then there's also the ability it's very similar to that. You know, most people use it as an individual. On Facebook where they can talk about is how individuals can use a personal learning network, connections and things as well, and how to use it because there are so many possibilities. But talk about how individuals can come together this week. But today what we're going to talk about, again, is how individuals brings up thoughts on Facebook. So I thought I know, but just to give you an idea of the layout, and this is what people a status update of what you're doing, what you're thinking, or something anymore. But what we see here is people. And you can see some of the other stuff around here. And then you've got these other to look at and just see specific things. Yeah, I don't really care about that. And that's, yeah, it's interesting because say, oh, it's Facebook. We don't need Facebook in a professional you kind of get it from both sides. But so this is the base. So when you come into Notebook, what you were working on, what you're thinking about, has actions stream. So very similar to what the Facebook newsfeed. we have more than just status updates. So what you will see, if you look down here, is not connected to anyone, and you're not, a Facebook page look like. You see you've got content. The thing because it's all permissions based. Things that I look at, I see here on number I mentioned that you can do status updates. You can do even more than status. And so if you do that, what you will see then is what different people are helpful because I see that he's done that and what he know that he set this up for this. What others are doing, you can see that there's conversation. You can see that there's 6 comments. The value of these status updates. Who and what you want to connect to. Other systems, most of the top-down driven systems ways to have these notifications. Again, I don't want to go through that specifically today. Now, if your use of and you're a criminal lawyer, if you're like me and you follow, I don't know, 4 or 5 it goes by, and a lot of times you might miss something. And you can see that I've created a couple. One of them that the team is doing. And so, or uses more book, updates if you want. And so if you configure it, if you click on you add the people that you want. People to add. And I mentioned email. Everything will be emailed. For instance, post. Advantage of it yet, and that's a migration. Collaborative space as opposed to and once you set that, you get your custom stream. Follow. If you hover over the name with your mouse, remember, and you see their status. So you can get a little bit of information that way. Message inside of MilSuite. Streams. In the inbox. Now the inbox is a little really keep up to date with. Where you would use your patient on a certain person. Next to where it says home on your idea that something that I think is important and you see a preview pane where you can read so in addition to having updates of when people connection updates. So this is how a connection basis, right? Have one-way connections, right? So I can following you, to get a notification so that to get information about someone that comes in the your account and instructions to you can see here's a picture of me. A little bit more about you. Something that you might recognize from LinkedIn. Familiar with knowledge management or social business skill. So this is, if you've worked with and then my number would go up. As an example, how an individual can use Millblow. Half an hour, and I will get on and I will post an update that says, if you're sitting in the office next to someone and you see what's going on, and that just to help everyone understand what's going on around the enterprise. And possibilities in how you can use it just as an individual. So what you're planning to work on, or at the end of the day, just a quick to help you get started. You may walk through this process. There are 16 steps. Feel for how the system works. Suite or your little book status points and your level it's a good way to just start getting that products. Most people, most and sharing the content, and those to the next product on our list, which is on the WordPress. If you're familiar with WordPress, it's not so much for come across that you think are of value. From around the internet that you think is worth sharing. So when you come to the things that I'm plugged into, whether it's you are plugged into, and the things that you can see. The top liked comment authors, and you can see here all of the top who is most plugged in top topics. So you can plug in, a topic, click on plug in the topic, plugging into a topic where you will see. And what I've personally chosen to do, I you may just plug in the acquisition, and then that way anything that like I said, some of the things that have what's called a bookmarklet that you can add so you add that to your things, and then it gets posted something similar, say, to this one, the one called White. Sharing with your connections, the people you follow. And will too have an option to share any of the content and part of the to, but I know it's kind of small on this. So in that no wire feed. Now, of all of the products, that is the one that is really with others and get the things that they find interesting. Going back to the concept of when something that someone else sees that's very well defined, and papers, or you're doing an analysis of something, or you're the next product on the list is MilWiki, and the homepage here very quickly. It's got people in the audience today have and what you may or may not know by default, anyone can go in and make everyone has the rights appropriately, right? So that nothing untoward happens. So this is where Wikipedia why they look very similar. Where we would like for it to get. And as you explore with that tomorrow when we talk about how to use the MilSuite tools to support as an individual to help your. The first thing that you should do, or that I would suggest that you do, is update your notification. It's very specific in the information that are displayed. Providing information across mobile. What I use it as kind of a for people who may want to know more about me within the DoD. Page, anyone can come in and look at it, get this information. Any questions, you can use the talk page. Independent of to look at this, maybe go in and what you see is what you get. If you have a product that consumer, simply to view it, to get the information. Now, I mentioned earlier that anyone can edit content, and this is quite honestly one of the things that kind of concerns people and prevents them sometimes from using MilWiki, is the idea that anyone can come in and change. You have to keep in mind too that you can always change it back. The biggest problem is going to be getting people to find and use your content, not keep them away from it and prevent them from editing it. There's very little, I would say there has been no a typo. If someone spelled to edit the page, so click on that and you will go into the editor, and then you can make the change that you want to make. Now, when you make a change to a page that someone else created, they will receive a notification to undo something if you want. And that you would do by looking at the history page. So any page on MilWiki, you can go in and you can see the history of that article. If you scroll down far enough, you can see when it was created. You can see all of the edits that were made. You can see who made the edit, when they made it, and the basics of what they did. So, for instance, this one, it's 7 characters less. This one has 62 characters more, and that type of thing. And then you can go in and you can compare and redo or undo anything that you want. So the fact that it is editable by anyone is a good thing because they will only make it better. The history allows you to see the history of the document, what changes have been made, and you can get a good feel too for who are contributors and who is working to make the product good. And then the next thing, I mentioned that authors will get a notification when something is updated. If you have an interest in a page, say MilSuite, you want to know whenever this particular content changes, then you have this star here. If you click on this star to add this page to your watch list, it will get filled in. And that's an indication to you that when someone updates this content, you will get a notification. And it's set up that you would you'll be able to go to your watch list to see that, but you'll also get it as an email notification if you have your email preference within MilWiki configured to do that. So there's, again, there's a lot of options, like Notebook. There is no right way to do it. Obviously, there are better ways than others to do some things, and we'll talk about that in more detail tomorrow when we talk about how groups and organizations can use these. But from an individual perspective, the important thing to remember is that you should create a user page that reflects who you are, that shows your background, shows the things that you're interested in. Has a short bio. The nice thing about MilWiki is more of your background so that when others can find you. And there's ways to connect here, and then obviously this is all connected through to the other products so that like the name implies, it's very similar to YouTube. Now, I didn't post, I didn't put a screenshot of YouTube on here. I think that's something that probably everyone has seen. Just like MilWiki, though, I think YouTube, or just like Wikipedia, YouTube is one of those sites that a lot of people visit and view. To just upload something straight to YouTube, but most people really use it to view content. And MilTube is similar. I mean, there are certain people and organizations that obviously have a lot of videos to share. The biggest category we have on MilTube is education and training. So you can see that these 6 most recent videos are training videos, but there are other videos that are posted on here that are of value. Then it's a simple form to go through and upload it. You've got your standard, choose a file. You can add a title. Choose the category, and this is, this kind of ties into the categories, the topics on MilWire, for instance. It pulls it all together so that the search function, will make it easier for people. That MilSuite is open by default and restricted by exception. So we'll find that, we'll see tomorrow and Thursday with restrict access to content. And you can make a video private so that people can't see it when they're on MilTube. They don't find it in searches. But one of to display videos. But again, that's something that's more related to groups and communities than it is for individuals. And then you can enter tags. They're pretty much standard form here when you upload it. And when you have videos that you've uploaded, you have your own page. You can see what it is that you've loaded. There's it's a bit more detailed than what I've gone through here for MilTube, but the basics of it for individuals are you can go there, search for videos if you want to find something. If you have a video that you want to share, you can upload it very easily. Hopefully this quick, fire hose of an overview is giving you an idea of how you as an individual can use the tools of MilSuite to help you do your job, one, to carry out the tasks that you have, to help you find information, but more importantly, help you understand how you can use the tools to connect to others, whether it's the people that are in your office, in the same building that you're at, maybe on the same installation, or people who are around the world. And the really nice things about it, kind of like Facebook, again, to use Facebook especially, allows you to connect with people you may not see very often, you haven't seen in years. I mean, I've connected with plenty of old Army buddies, long retired, and we lost contact many years ago. It allows you that ability to reconnect and stay connected. And MilSuite provides that same opportunity within the professional environment to stay connected with your friends and colleagues and your coworkers, even when you PCS or when you go somewhere else. And like I said too, there's so much more to it. There's a lot to explore. There's a lot to learn. To help you figure out some of that, we do have on the wiki a page called Using MilSuite. Now this is a page that I encourage you to go to and check out. We have the basics of using the MilSuite applications, and then when you scroll down this page, we have starting points for the services. We have what we call playbooks that tell you, give you ideas on how you can use the products, how you can use standard templates and different things. Some things we'll talk about more in the next couple of days. But this is a great resource. This page is a great resource to get ideas and see how others have done it. And for more of the how-tos, the button clicking, if you want to call it that, I encourage you to visit our learning portal, MilU, and we have a page. It's at milsuite.mil/learn, and we have a MilSuite splash page that will take you into each of the products, and it will give you step-by-step instructions. For instance, how do I post a status update? How do I post a discussion? How do I create a group? So if your interest has been piqued here today and you want to learn more on how to use the tools, go to MilU. Once you understand that, go to the Using MilSuite page on MilWiki to get an idea of how you can actually put these tools to use. And then, hopefully, if you have an interest, we'll be back tomorrow afternoon when we talk about how you and your colleagues can come together to form collaborative groups to get work done and to use these other tools as well. And then on Thursday, how organizations can take advantage of these connections and these tools to help execute the organization and the unit's mission. Now, thank you very much for your time. I see that we have a whole bunch of questions have flown by here. Jason Bach has been answering these and going on, and I guess the question would be,
just tagged on a loaded one right now.
okay, here, let me show my questions. All right. Can MilSuite be used similar to a SharePoint site? I guess it all depends on what. Yeah, it all depends on what you mean by similar to a SharePoint site. I know that SharePoint has collaborative features and other things as well. Just to the SharePoint comparison, I think the biggest difference is that, well, there's several, I guess. For the most part on SharePoint, an individual user doesn't have the ability to, an individual user can use what is provided but typically has to go through basically on their own without any permission or intervention from an IT guy. Now, another big thing on SharePoint is files and document management. Now, in MilSuite, you can upload files, and there are some basic functions with it, but it doesn't provide the document management, check-in, check-out type of features that you would have on SharePoint. But it doesn't have that integration with Microsoft Office. So that MilBook and SharePoint will be more tightly integrated, but they're not really duplicative, I guess, in their functions. Hopefully that addresses it, answers your question. Yeah, the question, the next question I've got is, what's the advantage of using MilWire versus MilBook? That is really kind of a personal preference. There are, if you look, there are some people who on the internet that has brief discussion, kind of like what you would do on Facebook. Say you post a status update with a link to an article on CNET or whatever. So it's kind of like that. On the public social media side, some people use Facebook for everything. Some people use Facebook for personal things and Tumblr for other things. So like it's kind of a personal preference. I think from a practical standpoint, MilBook has a much more active audience right now than MilWire does. So you're more likely maybe to have what you post seen on MilBook. But again, that depends on how many people are following you, because if you don't have anyone following you, then it doesn't matter where you post it, right? So. Okay, the next question, wondering if there is a generalized, general-purpose MilWiki page rather than having many small individual wiki pages. I'm not sure I understand that question really. I think the nature of a wiki is that it has small individual pages. Part of what we've done, we do use this semantic wiki extension or application that allows you to tag things so that you can do queries and make it a little bit more data-based, so that you can then pull that information back into, say, a single page. But, that's, one of the things that, and this goes back to the user-centric nature of MilSuite as a whole, is that MilWiki consists of what the users of MilWiki thinks it should consist of. On the MilSuite team, we do what we can to provide the basic structure, a basic taxonomy, like whatever, the topics and the categories, setting up some of the semantic stuff. We've created a bunch of templates on MilWiki, for instance, that people can use and leverage to create a standard page, but it's not structured, for instance, with that hierarchy of structure. Again, going back to SharePoint, it's not, there isn't a DoD page that has, then an Army subpage and a Navy subpage and Air Force, and everything's underlined in a strict file type structure like you might see on a regular website or something. That doesn't exist. So if that was the question, then no, there is no generalized top-down structure to MilWiki.
Right, if I could jump in, he followed up with, can I search the entire MilSuite library at once, and I searches all of MilSuite.
Right, and that is something, thanks Jason for mentioning the search, I didn't mention that. We do have the search, and if you look on the, let me get back to a page. So for instance, on the MilBook header, or MilSuite header, you'll see this link to MilSearch, and that is our search across all of the products. So that, yeah, you can do a search. You don't have to kind of, browse and seek to find. You can do a search to pull back the information that you're looking for. Thank you, everyone.